My name is Megan O'Russell.
And my name is Christopher Russell, and welcome back to Page by Page, writing the book in real time. It is episode 25, and yes, that does mean chapter 24, and yes, I am going to keep saying that.
And we're going to fix it next season.
We are, but we are thrilled to be back with you.
You know what? We are getting so close to the end.
I don't believe
we are at least more than halfway to the end. No, we are definitely more than halfway.
If this becomes a 180,000 word book.
No, it's not going to be that. I just don't quite want to promise. In my heart, we have passed the 2/3 mark.
I hope so.
That does not have anything to do with how many more words my hands are planning on typing.
Okay.
Like the two don't necessarily connect.
Yeah, sure.
But in my heart, that's what it is.
Okay. Well, we shall see. Before we get into anything else, I would like to go ahead and introduce the beer of the week. For those of you who get to finally see this video, when I have it up, I'm going to bring this into view right now. We are recording this. We are recording this on January 20th of 2025. Megan is wearing her Pride shirt. I bought a keg of Delirium Tremens. Delirium Tremens, while a kind of unfortunate name, is brilliant. It is so good, and it is from the brewery. I want to say it's
I'm just sitting here drinking it, even though we haven't toasted.
Was it Huga? I think is what it is. It's Huyghhe. It is another Belgian brewery, so I'm awful with that. So cheers. Cheers. I do love it. And I like the keg because the keg gives you a very different level of carbonation, you know?
It also makes it feel fancy, like if you need something to celebrate. And while we're recording this, for those who are listening to the podcast, we are actually back doing our first TikTok live since the Not Ban ban.
Yeah, so actually even since before that, because life got really nuts there for a second.
Really nuts with the
sorry
Florida
we were gone for so long, but we're back.
So to our friends who we're just seeing now again on TikTok, it was all the political rubbish aside, the fear of losing out on the people that we've met on TikTok and become friends with.
Yeah.
That was really the thing that bothered me.
Well, without getting into partisan politics, I will say that what I thought was the most interesting thing about this. Don't worry, Megan's looking at me like, what are you going to say?
What are you doing?
No, it's fine. Well, and the thing is, we can always cut this, not from TikTok Live, but we can cut it from the podcast if you decide to, but it's fine. Is the fact that both parties were at least the Biden administration and the incoming Trump administration were both they were like, wait, what do we do? This might not be a great idea. Wait a minute. How much capital are we losing?
Yeah,
do this? It was kind of it just shows how out of touch sometimes they are with what's going on in the world. So it's interesting.
It's, but it makes sense. There is a lot for people to keep up with, and sometimes people make judgments about things that they don't actually know anything about. And unfortunately, sometimes those people have a lot of power. Well said. That's very true. Yeah. We are all capable of making mistakes. And when you're more powerful, the mistakes are bigger. And affect a lot of people and some people's full livelihoods. So I know that a lot of creators were terrified about what they were going to do for income. Yeah, it's true. And I mean, I don't really use being on TikTok Live and talking to people in a roundabout way. Sure, yes, it creates income, but this isn't, I don't get paid out by TikTok every month. So it's not that kind of dependence for me. No. For me, it's just this is how I talk to people. For stuff, it's in-person markets, and even still, I think more heavily ebook sales too. Yeah. So but this is nice. We just like getting to talk to you guys. It's a nice way to connect. Well, because it does feel like being an author can be such a lonely thing. So it's nice to talk to people who are actually readers and what they want to read and who they are as people instead of just seeing numbers. Well, and for me, it's just nice to talk to people because you never stop talking. I don't know what you're talking about. So at Central Florida Comic-Con, I was really good there. He did. Chris did a really good job. Thank you very much. He didn't do too much attack extroverting. I did just the right amount. You did just the right amount of attack extroverting. But I realized that a lot of the people I was talking to were so introverted, they were convinced that I'm a full extrovert. Oh, yeah. That was funny. It was hilarious. And I was like, oh, you're so bad at extroverting. You think I'm good at it. Yeah. Oh, that's not true. No. But I do feel okay.
You're practiced at it, though.
I am practiced.
Yeah. So there's.
But I feel like a liar, fake extrovert. But on the good side of that, the world building panel went really well.
Oh my gosh, it was so good. I literally said, so your mom texted and was like, how did the world building panel go? And I went, it was amazing. I literally sat there the whole time, and I was kind of like, quote unquote, moderating it. I really wasn't. She was on a freaking roll. But I was literally sitting there the whole time going, God, I married up.
You're so nice.
So up. I'm not nice. It's true. It's true. Just listening. It's truly amazing. Like, I hope that you all out there have a partner that feels this way about you, that you feel this way about. But when you talk, and I'm talking to you right now, Megan, directly, but when you are talking about the craft, I mean, I was like, I sound so like poncy, but it's true. When you talk about the craft of writing, it's listening to a master, just the way that you were able to lead everybody through the world building. Like, do you want to talk about the panel a little bit? Like what you did now that you're looking at me in abject terror?
Sure. So
I just pushed her way into her imposter syndrome mode. Sorry about that.
So it was a really good panel because what we were talking about were anchor points.
I'm going to call her out real quick. Hi, Moldy. Moldy likes your earrings a lot. Yeah.
So we got to talk about anchor points in world building, which was super fun because there's a lot of talk about sexy world building, like magic systems and political intrigue. But the important things about like how the fertility of the ground within your fantasy world affects the way your characters treat food.
Right.
Like how they eat, how they look at other people eating, like how much importance they place on food. It's going to affect that. And so getting to talk about those details and how much they can help influence the rest of your story in a way that honestly makes world building easier, at least to me.
No, sure. It
was really fun.
It made me feel even more capable of possibly revisiting writing in the future. I know I say this is never going to happen. But no, so without going like really deep into it, I want to bring this particular thing up where you went from fertility of land to types of weapons that the citizens would carry. And I went, what? And it made perfect sense. It made perfect sense. But you don't need to go into it here. But I was just like, wow.
Well, okay. The quick version is if you are in a place where people are barely getting enough calories to survive, they're going to have light weaponry. Because if you do not have enough calories to support your body, you do not have the strength to carry a heavy weapon. So if it's always been that way, lighter weaponry would have been developed out of necessity.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
So it's one of those things that it makes sense.
But like I wouldn't have thought about that because that's not how my brain works.
But then imagine how much easier that makes your world building.
Oh, I don't have to imagine.
Because you just have that whole line.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, I've decided that this is a very arid, infertile world.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now I have everything up until what weapons commoners can have. Like, you have that whole stretched out for you.
You know,
that whole package stretched out.
You know what could be fun for you to do in your spare time is put together more things like this, and you could literally offer courses on our website. You know,
that'd be weird. I mean, I would if I was going to do anything like that, I'd rather do like brainstorming one-on-one with authors.
Okay, yeah,
and just like talk through problem spots. I'd rather do coaching than courses.
I think coaching is something you'd be really good at, and you should totally look into it.
Just because like talking into a camera and being like, hi, I hope you understand my points. These are the things I am saying.
That's why you have an editor.
Well, no, I just mean that the fun part of it and the good part of it comes from relating the idea of anchor points and how they can help build continuity with your world into the stories that people are wanting to write. Like, that's the fun part for me. Just like talking into a camera and being like, this is an anchor point.
I see. That makes sense. Okay, yeah.
I mean, I could make like a TikTok series of shorts about it, but I feel like...
You could. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Okay, I'll work on that. That sounds feasible.
I like that idea.
Okay.
All right. So would you like to do a last time on?
Yeah, cheers first.
Cheers first.
Last time on Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer.
Wait. What?
We have to say goodbye to TikTok Live or it'll give spoilers.
But you had us do the last time. So we're not doing that this time.
No, because it's big spoilers this time.
Okay, and we are back. So now that we've kicked the TikTok Livers out of here. No, I know. I get it. You can't give them these spoilers. Wait,
are we just snapping and going into previously on?
What? No.
Like I didn't interrupt you?
No, we're talking right now. No, we're leading back in. Wait, what?
Because I thought you said, are you going to do previous? And you said previously on. And I was like, no. So I thought you were going to snap and then you were going to go previously on. And then I was going to do previously on. So I wasn't ready to not do previously on. And now I've been rambling for a really long time and I'm not really sure how to make myself stop. Okay.
That's okay. That's why everybody's here. We love you all. Thank you so much for dealing with that.
And that's the way Ella Day's fed feels.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there you go. So that was a really good glimpse into Ella Day's thought process. Wow.
Oh, wait, so we're not cutting that now?
No, we're not cutting that.
Okay.
That's gold. Are you kidding me? This is how we get the ratings. Hey, all right. So why don't you give us a previously on, Megan Elizabeth? Here, will it make you feel better if I snap here? Look at that. You can do a previously on now.
We're magically back on track. All right. No laughing.
Sorry.
Previously on Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer.
I totally failed last week, by the way. I did not keep up with the music. Sorry, continue.
Previously on Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer. Seer Ella Day has figured out that Clara is not only dead, but she knows where Clara's body was dumped. In an effort to find the place and figure out who murdered Clara, Ella, Violet, and Caleb have been digging through the Blackwood Library, searching for monsters that could be their murderer. And Ella has been sketching and resketching and resketching and resketching the cliff all day. All day sketching. Yeah, I think that's the catch-up.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
It's a long day in the library.
It is a long day in the library.
Like, if you think about what time we left them, they've had a day.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because they went up there for breakfast.
Uh-huh.
What time did they even wake up that morning? I don't remember.
I mean, Ella would probably be awake. I would guess she'd be awake at, 7:45 to 8:15 would be when her body's like, you've had 2 hours of sleep, Seer.
But even with the immense amount of damage that was done to her body?
Yeah. As soon as her body was awake enough to come out of trauma.
Oh, does she not sleep very much?
I mean, she sleeps like a teen sleeps. Maybe 6 hours, maybe 12. Who's to say?
Oh, I sleep like 6 hours. I was like, I'm like a teen, but not really.
Well, we need to take care of that sleep schedule, babe.
Because I'm old.
My old man. All right. We have gone, this is what happens. This is what happens.
When we record at 10:30
when Slap Happy takes over. Well, no, because we went around the depression bend and ended up in Slap Happy territory.
Yeah, that's true.
But at least we're here, so that's an improvement.
Yeah.
So let's
also,
start.
your hair is clutch.
I know.
Because you didn't dry it at all, right?
No.
I love it's got some really cool waves to it and stuff.
That's because there's no humidity in our apartment right now.
Oh, well, yes.
Yes,
because
if I walked outside, it would not be cute.
Polar vortex. Okay.
Get back on track.
That was not the rhythm that I caught.
I know I panicked partway through. This is how I'm doing. I feel like, okay. One last distraction.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel like
this is a slightly shorter chapter, so you go ahead with your distraction.
Well, no, I would, but you keep interrupting me.
That's how I do.
I feel like perhaps our open mental health bumpity shakenness right now.
What?
I'm trying to I feel like perhaps that accurate portrayal of where we are in life could be helpful to those who are in similar states.
Yeah.
And feel like they need to fake it to the rest of the world that they are okay. So you know what? This is my gift of openness to the universe. Here is my mental health right now. It ain't great, kids, but you know what? We are going to record this chapter and it's going to be fucking triumphant because we did it.
It is. And y'all, just to tag onto that, don't act like you're okay. Don't do it. Just don't.
Unless someone's paying you a lot of money.
Okay, sure.
Sometimes for money.
Yeah. When you're, well, I mean, no. If you're
okay, we don't need to know.
Yeah. All right. So back on track. Okay, so then are we ready to start the chapter?
Begin. There was nothing to continue.
There was nothing to continue yet. No, Thank you for recognizing that. Okay. So this is Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer by Megan O. Russell, Chapter 24. I never wanted to be an artist. Maybe I would have gotten there eventually. Maybe I'd even have followed Dad's path and become a master woodcarver. But I never got the chance to fall in love with it. Once the vision started, it didn't take my parents long to ask me to draw the scary thing I'd seen. I was too little to have the words to describe a mutilated corpse in a culvert, or people fucking on a roof, so I had to show them with pictures. But blocky crayon drawings can only get you so far. Dad switched me to pencils and started sketching with me every day, like some parents practice throwing a ball. Like I would have been practicing fighting with Mom and Dad if I'd been born a werewolf. Mom couldn't draw for shit, but she still helped teach me, working on visual recall. She'd lay out a bunch of small items under a blanket, pull the blanket back, giving me 20 seconds to memorize everything she'd laid out, then flip the blanket back down, hiding the items while I recited everything I'd seen. Shorter times, more items, weird things I didn't know the names of. Mom had all kinds of tricks to make my task harder. On long road trips, she'd tell me to study something we were driving past while she snapped a picture. I'd sketch the scene from memory, then she'd compare my work to the photo, noting the details I'd missed, checking for any patterns to my weak points. I went through a phase when I was 7 where I'd always fuck up the top right corner. Mom came up with drills to help me fix that one. I think she had fun with it. She liked teaching, even went to college to be a teacher. I smashed that dream. It was worth it, she said. I was worth it, she said. I tried to make that true for her, for all 3 of us. If I had to have a vision of a woman's pending spectacularly gruesome murder in the grocery store parking lot, leading me to freak out badly enough for the manager to call 911, then finding the killer and making sure he never had the chance to get anywhere near his fucking victim made having to run out of town worth it, right? Practicing drawing with Dad so I could sketch that mustached fuckhole's face well enough for my parents to find him was worth it. Sobbing while sketching kids being tortured, locked in a fucking basement by their own grandmother, was worth it. The anonymous tip to the police got those kids out. That made it worth the nightmares, right? Made every sacrifice I'd fucking forced on my parents worth it, right? Recreating horrific things I never wanted to see, let alone study intently for the few moments I was forced into that hell so I could lock the scene in my mind, just to spend hours fixating on every detail, burning the memory so deep into my brain I'll never be free from the blood, was worth it, right? I tried not to think of myself as lucky while I spent all day Sunday piecing together drafts for an accurate drawing of the cliff where Clara died, but by nightfall, I'd run out of the energy to deny she'd been murdered in a beautiful place. And, a hell of an and, in the moment when I'd managed to grab the clearest view of the cliff's edge, Clara had already tipped away from her killer as he'd tossed her down into the fissure. She couldn't see the monster anymore, so I didn't have to see him as I scoured my memory, searching for the curves of the mountains silhouetted against the storm, their shapes blacking out the horizon, their peaks hidden by the clouds. A mountainside cliff in a fierce storm, 2 dangers battling in the night. If the drawing couldn't have tied me to a murder, I'd have done that shit up and sold prints for decent money. But I wouldn't see a profit from the hours spent perfecting the shading along the cliff line. I wouldn't even get Dad telling me how proud of my art he was as we burned every draft and drawing. All I got out of my cramped hand, blistered finger, and the headache pinching right between my eyes was a sketch none of my favorite search engines could match to an actual place. Failure to find an image match only dealt a slight chest punch. Even seeing through Clara's werewolf eyes, the darkness had left most of the landscape beyond the cliff as nothing more than shades of shadow. Too fucking generic to ping as a specific location with something as blissfully easy as an image search. Violet and Caleb not recognizing the cliff gave a firmer chest punch, reminding my body that panic lurked close by, ready to fuck me up whenever I wanted to give in. Violet and Caleb's monster search going as badly as my murder scene search would have given said panic a nice hold around my lungs, But watching them sink into the realization of how much they didn't know about the supernatural brought a certain level of cheer to my nightmare-jaded heart. I was about to say nightmare-jaded ass. I don't know why. Ass was in my heart.
You have an ass heart?
Yeah, sometimes. All right. Heart flatulence. That's bad. That's bad. Go see a doctor if that happens. Okay. Violet and Caleb. I don't know.
Continue.
Violet and drink. Okay. Violet and Caleb's monster search going as badly as my murder scene search would have given said panic a nice hold around my lungs. But watching them sink into the realization of how much they didn't know about the supernatural brought a certain level of cheer to my nightmare-jaded heart. Not ass. The monster wasn't of the Lamia or Black Anise lines. Nothing close to an Aswang either. With every killer candidate I rejected, another layer of Caleb and Violet's naive belief in the safety of living on Blackwood land turned tissue paper thin. So many evil options they'd never added to their nightmare roster, let alone considered actually creeping into Laureldale. It wasn't a golem or any demon in the illustrated books either. Part of me had hoped the Cosmos' gift of free use of Kate's library would come with the gracious bonus of Violet and Caleb finding the right monster before I had to pull a second set of books from the shelf, which only provided descriptions of the beast's horrible forms. Reading about talons, life-draining venom, and the stench of rotting flesh on hot breath burrows further into the brain than just scanning through pictures. At least, it had always been that way for me. Violet and Caleb didn't let the weight of new fears slow their pace as they poured through the books, bringing me every description even close to right, not stopping until the world swirled away, sucking me into a spiraling chaos swarming with dark... Violet and Caleb didn't let the weight of new fears slow their pace as they poured through the books, bringing me every description even close to right, not stopping until the world swirled away, sucking me into a spiraling chaos swarming with dark forms I couldn't make out. Cold surrounded me, raking sharp claws across my skin, pressing against my lungs until I couldn't breathe. I woke up on the library floor, choking for air, frozen with cold that didn't exist. Violet held my hands between hers, blowing heat on my 2 white fingers, while Caleb ran for the comforter on my bed. He fucking swaddled me like a baby and carried me down to the living room, planting me by one of the fireplaces Kate actually used. Violet heated up a can of soup, and Caleb packed more blankets around me and started a fire. Them working together would have been heartwarming, except they'd banded together to take care of me. I fucking hated them taking care of me. I fucking hated that I needed it even more. The deep, resonating anger at my parents for not being here to take care of me themselves was the worst. That anger kept me huddled by the fire even after I'd stopped shivering, taking advantage of having my back to my keepers to get my shit together. Next steps, Ella. Make a plan, Ella. This is about Clara, not you, Ella. Don't fall. Don't fall. Don't fall, Ella. I dug my knuckles into the bridge of my nose, pressing right above the pinch of pain between my eyes. Fact 1. Moving dead bodies takes effort. Fact 2. Moving live werewolves takes a shit ton more effort. Reasonable assumption, the killer didn't take Clara far. Sherlockian revelation? No. Enough to make me crawl out of my blanket nest? Yes. Caleb dropped his really old and delicate book onto the coffee table, leaping up to take my elbow as I stood. He switched his grip, wrapping an arm around my waist as I swayed. Weak, fragile, liability, broken, cursed. Lots of fun words pounded through my mind as Caleb shepherded me to the couch. Helpful, gifted, brave. I tried to change the voice, working up the courage to ask for more help. Smart, fragile, useless, capable, weak. Fucking focus on someone else, not on your own fucked up life, Ella. Can someone please grab my laptop from my room and the local guide and a pen from the drawer? I pointed to the end table on the far side of the couch. Caleb bolted for my bedroom, and Violet made it from the armchair in the corner she'd claimed to the end table in one werewolf lunge. It's not an emergency, I called after Caleb. Of course it's not. Violet used her creepy calming voice. You're safe here, at home. Everything is fine. I know. Is that creepy calming enough for you?
Yes, I like it. I like it. Okay, that'll pass.
All right, thank you. I shall pass. I know. I reached for the coffee table where someone had piled my sketchbooks. A brutally sharp throb punched through my back, the ache in my fingers joining the protest as I grabbed the top book. I bit my lips together, holding my breath to keep myself from gasping. Deliberately blocking air from my lungs pinged panic through my brain, courtesy of the oh-so-recent memory of being suffocated by cold. Fuck. I'm fucked. I'm fucked. Is this it? Violet passed me the glossy green Lauraldale visitor's guide Kate had used to show me all our wonderful options for local fun while trying to convince me to like living in Murder Town. Yep. I flipped open the guide, turning straight to the map on the inside cover. The Widow's Run River ran down the map just a little right of center. Other dominant features included the bridges over the river and the main roads leading to downtown, Falls Lake, and the preserve up around Diamond Peak. Campgrounds, trailheads, and businesses that had sponsored the guide were marked with stars and listed down the right side of the map. A square around the center of town marked the area as having a zoomed-in map on the next page. Downtown business sponsors would be starred and listed there. Violet held a pin out to me. Rather than accept it, I turned the map to her, pointing to the blank green blob on the top left. Rather than accept it, I turned the map to her, pointing to the blank green blob on the top left section of the map. This is private Blackwood land, right? Doesn't keep the occasional dumbass tourist from trying to trespass. I pushed the guide into her hands. Circle any part of the Blackwood estate you know well enough to swear on your pack this cliff isn't there. I tipped my current final drawing of the cliff toward her. She didn't look at it before tracing the perimeter of the blank green Blackwood estate. After that, she paused, tipped her head as she studied the map, then added one little extension to the bottom left of the estate and another that grazed the top right and curved all the way up to the edge of the page. You're that sure? I asked. Positive. She handed the guide back to me. If you get a bigger map, there's land south of town. I know that well, too. I tapped on the curve she'd drawn at the top of the map. What's that? Crimson Ridge. Violet went back to her seat. It's supposed to be super haunted, so kids sneak up there for shit all the time. If there were that kind of cliff near Crimson Ridge, kids would have died falling over it. Everyone would know that spot. Nope, everyone would know the spot, Caleb said as he re-entered the living room, my laptop and charger with him. They'd probably call it the Lauraldale Death Drop and have pictures of the cliff on postcards in town, Violet said. Don't forget the Lauraldale Death Drop t-shirts, Caleb said. Tourists love t-shirts. I don't know how much you're kidding, I said. We're not, Violet said. Wholesome. I traded Caleb the map for my laptop. Circle where you are abso-fucking-lutely positive that cliff can't be. He cut past me, sitting on the couch on the far side of my sketchbook. What time do we need to start worrying about Miss Blackwood coming home? I flipped open my laptop, checking the time on the screen. 9:46. Not ideal. Nowhere near disaster. We should have the library closed back up by 10:30 if we want to be safe. I wrinkled my nose. We could go for 11 if we're up for a heart-pounding dash to hide all evidence you've been here. I'm not sure what "we'll be back late" means to Kate. We'll start packing up at 10:25, Caleb said. Violet tensed, and for a second it looked like she might leap to her feet to argue, but she set her book on her lap instead. She clasped her hands together, speaking in her nice/creepy voice with a bonus rumbling of potential bloodshed. We need to decide what books to keep out. We can't, I started. We're not giving up looking for the monster that murdered my friend just because. Not giving up, I said loudly enough to cut her off. But as soon as Kate opens the wall, she'll notice if any of the books are gone, which would quickly spiral into her figuring out I'm doing shit I'm not supposed to be doing, which would bench me, potentially by shipping me out of town until she figures out what to do about Clara. My voice bounced around the room. Ragged breaths shook my chest, stealing my calm. I'm not getting sent away. Ella. Caleb moved my sketchbook, sliding to sit closer to me. With your drawing, you've told us where Clara is. We know what happened to her. Would letting Miss Blackwood take over from here be such an awful thing? Yes. Violet and I spoke together. Caleb kept his gaze on me, like he hadn't even heard Violet. Why? I held back my instinctual response of, because I don't need Kate to hold my fucking hand. It mattered to Caleb. My answer truly mattered to him. And after all I'd put him and Violet through in the past less than 24 hours, there was a decent possibility it mattered, because if he didn't like my answer, he was going to steal the choice to tell Kate from me and feed her every awful detail of every fucking thing himself. I would have understood his decision, but I would have hated him for the rest of my life. I didn't want to lose half of the Etherean almost friends Laurel had granted me. Closing my eyes, I let fatigue drag me below logical answers, searching for the reason panic had slammed my heart against my ribs at the mere mention of telling Kate what I'd seen. Because I trust Kate to do the right thing. I dug my nails into my knees. My right hand throbbed in protest. But I don't trust our versions of the right thing to be the same. I opened my eyes, looking from Caleb's worry to Violet's sparking anger. Clara disappeared on land under Kate's protection. I pressed onward with what felt like a fucking betrayal of the woman who'd taken my unhomeable ass in. Did I say ass?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I did? Okay, great. If Kate really didn't do anything to help find Clara, she had a good reason. The same way that if she searched for Clara and we just don't know about it, she had a good reason for hiding it. But what if Kate has a good reason for keeping Clara's murder quiet? Meaning? Violet growled. Hiding the attack for the good of the local Ethereans. I pushed the hair that had fallen out of my bun away from my face. I needed a shower and sleep, and my mom to explain to the two childlike, untarnished by the fucked up world teens why good people sometimes have to do objectively bad things. Letting word of a rogue supernatural attacking Laurel spread could make the community look weak, exposing us to worse threats. Local Ethereans finding out about a murder in their safe haven could spark panic. Panic always leads to violence. Crack! Violet flinched as one of her bones gave in, breaking from the pressure of squeezing her hands together. If hiding Clara's death meant protecting Laurel for the greater good, we should hide the fact that Clara was fucking murdered, Violet said. Crack. Another broken bone. Just fucking listen, Violet. Clara wasn't a runaway. She didn't just drop out of school and disappear. She was murdered, and people didn't fucking care. Not the sheriff, or the paper, or the fucking school. They let her rot. I heard Violet's gasp, but couldn't stop the angry loathing from pouring out of my mouth. They did fucking nothing to find her. A girl was fucking murdered, and they didn't fucking care. I felt what Clara felt. I know every bit of pain that monster caused, and I don't give a shit about the greater good. Every asshole in Laurel is going to know what happened in their precious, perfect, fucked up haven, and I hope they shit themselves with terror every fucking night for the rest of their lives because they didn't give a shit when a girl was murdered in their own fucking town. Sobs stole my ability to speak. Somehow I was standing, but it wasn't Caleb who kept me on my feet this time. Violet wrapped her arms around me, bearing my weight when my knees couldn't, but not the same way Caleb had. Her hitched breaths matched mine as she let tears take over. I hugged her back, holding on as tight as I could as we allowed ourselves 2 minutes to mourn the girl Laurel wanted to forget. I felt what Clara felt. No crackling muddied the Sibyl's voice, her words coming through clear enough for me to be certain what I'd heard even before their meaning made sense. I know every bit of pain that monster caused. Her voice rose. And I don't give a shit about the greater good. Every asshole in Laurel. Clara. Laurel. Together, the words left no reason for me to stifle my excitement. Felt what Clara felt. Clara Lucia Miranda, the wayward werewolf who'd endured so much pain before her inevitable end. Shit themselves with terror every fucking night. So much agony inflicted upon a Sibyl's flesh. Even the strongest seer would be shaken by such torment. A girl was murdered in their own fucking town. The fresh blast of wind testing my coat fed my growing gratitude. Hail could pour down from the sky, and staying huddled in the trees would still be worth it. After a few minutes of crying, the Etherians went back to working in silence. I closed my eyes, listening for their voices, distracting myself from the frustration of not being able to see into the living room by contemplating the most compelling descriptors for the rarity the Blackwood Witch had brought to Laureldale. Sibyl, seer, prophet, retrocognizant. I said that right? Mm-hmm. Great. Each had a different connotation. The rest of the night's living room chatter held little value, the need for the Sibyl to replace the library books herself being the last noteworthy comment as they left the space. In an overabundance of caution, I crept deep into the trees, cutting a wide path through the darkness to reach the back of the house, staying out of view of the windows until the limits of substandard tech drew me closer. The decibel meter labeled kitchen spiked. By myself. The anxiety-born tension around my spine eased, leaving only cold-born tightness behind as the Sibyl's voice filled my ears. If I have to be the ass that lists the fucked up shit that's happened to you today, the werewolf said, I'm happy to give you a fucking reminder. The hybrid mumbled something. We're not supposed to mention the... Wait, how many times was it she fell into a fucked up vision and started screaming? The werewolf said. I laid out the little mat I'd brought to sit on, shielding myself from the cold of the ground as I leaned against a tree. And how many times have you actually almost literally fallen down? The wolf went on. I'm not an elderly fall risk, the Sibyl said. You're not safe to be alone either, the hybrid said, presenting a better tone of caring than the wolf. Can you honestly tell me tonight won't be like last night? A beat of silence passed. Are you going to take turns holding my hand at school, too? The Sibyl said. Shit. Is there any chance of you skipping school? The hybrid said. At least for tomorrow? Not without Kate getting involved? I tipped my head back, letting the wind whip across my face. Fine. It's fine. I can work it out, the wolf said. Such confidence, the Sibyl said. Seriously, I've got it, the wolf said. Oh, the things this Sibyl sees. I tried the line aloud, whispering it to myself. Oh, the things this Sibyl sees. A catchy phrase, but lacking any real interest. But if I'm going to stay overnight, I have to run home and give Luca an excuse in person. I can stay tonight. I can come back, the wolf said. He just worries about me. Mystery-solving Sibyl locates lost corpse. Appealing, if currently inaccurate. If you stay for an hour, I can run home, check in with Dad, and come back to sleep here, the hybrid said. This is ridiculous, the Sibyl said. I'm fucking ridiculous. Ridiculous talent, tameable package. You're not, the hybrid said. Please don't pander. Then don't make me come up with a non-shitty way to say you're a fucking badass who willingly put herself through hell to help Clara even after I broke your face. The fact that you're even able to think without screaming proves you're fucking stronger than I could ever be. Retrocognitive talent, fast healing package. You're a fucking warrior recovering from battle, the wolf said. And you acting like you don't need help after suffering the wounds that killed Clara is really fucking me up on a deep, visceral fucking level, so can you please just accept our fucking help? Silence. I straightened as the potential of both Etherian ambush and technical malfunction nipped fear into my mind. I should shower while you're still here. The Sibyl's voice swept worry away. No offense, Caleb, but if someone's going to rescue my naked ass, I think Violet is the less awkward option. And thus ends chapter 24. And now I can reveal to you that who I was thinking could be the Watcher is definitely not. Because I would say for a while, I really thought that it was Caleb.
You were really so convinced it was Caleb.
So convinced
and
it was
the
Caleb.
way you were so, like, every time you read something, you were like,
I was like, oh.
Because it's not Caleb. Well, if we were supposed to trust the Watcher, Caleb,
it's true.
Like your determination that Caleb was the Watcher provided me entertainment for weeks.
I'm glad I made you happy. All right, so how do you
find joy when you can, man? Find joy when you can,
especially nowadays. So tell me how do you feel? How do you feel about the chapter?
I feel it kind of. This is kind of that moment where you flick the pebble And it goes,
and starts tumbling downhill.
Yeah.
Downhill. I just said downhill. Oh my God. I've gone back to my Tennessee accent.
Tennessee's coming out.
There it is.
Yeah, but it's kind of that flick the pebble over the cliff moment. Did I just say something wrong?
No, you didn't.
That wasn't aphasia. Those are all the right words.
No, my brain is just going places it shouldn't. Sorry, continue.
So I just had the flick the pebble over the... I just had the push the snow. No, there's no.
No, it's fine. Just continue. I'm a 7-year-old.
It's one of those times where now
you push the snowball down the hill?
Yes.
Okay, great.
That's what I was trying to say, but you kept giggling like a child. But it's always kind of stressful to get to that moment because it's like no takesies backsies. Like this is it. It is a sprint. And like, yes, there is a lot left to happen.
Yeah.
But this is sort of where the irrevocable has started.
So wait, hold on. So I don't know if you can tell me this, but are we going to get to the end of this book before the following school weekends? Because I could see that happening. I
am choosing not to comment.
To answer. Oh, okay. That's fine. Interesting. All right. Okay. Okay. So then there was something I was going to write and I forgot what it was. It's fine. I'm sure that we will get there.
I love you. You're the best one.
That's absolutely what it is.
Kisses from me.
Oh, so I said the very first thing that I wrote on here, and you probably read this one because I wrote it before I sent it back to you the first time. But I said on long road trips, she'd tell me to study something we were driving past while she snapped a picture. And just with all of this that you put in the front of this chapter, I said, oh my God, this is the training montage we didn't know we needed.
But that's
this
kind
is really
of what
cool.
it is.
No, it is. It's neat. I wouldn't have thought about the way that her mom could have helped her without being an artist is being like, okay, we are going to work on your perception skills and your memory skills. Like, wow, that's brilliant.
Well, and her mom was trained to be a teacher. Mm-hmm. Like she was trained to work with kids. She was trained.
Was it her being born that stopped her mom from being a teacher or her becoming a seer?
A bit of both.
Okay. Sorry, it just occurred to me that might have been what it was. That I immediately assumed it was
more like a delay and then a death.
Oh God. Right. Sure. It's like, okay, so we have to push this back. Oh shit. Yeah. Got it.
Yeah. It was one of those like having a kid that young. Student teaching was not going to happen for the moment.
Do you know what just started happening in my head?
I mean, it is kind of up.
Sorry. There should have been a trigger warning for that music. My God.
But it is kind of that. We're like, okay, wow, kid young, spend a little time with the baby, get her a little older. Then, I'm going to go do my student teaching then.
Sure.
Like this thing of I'll get back to it. And then, no, having to hop around all the time. She's not going to be able to get a license in every state. She's not going to that's not going to happen.
Okay.
So it was a delay and then fuck that. It's never going to be their thing.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
But her mom really wanted to be a teacher.
Okay. So the line, and this was so interesting, and I hadn't really considered it before, but if the drawing couldn't have tied me to a murder, I'd have done that shit up and sold prints for decent money. Has she ever done this? Has she ever sold any of the prints that she's made for because of her visions for money?
No, not because of the visions.
Okay, so just but she.
But when they're like, okay, practice drawing this, like draw this from memory, or like her dad be like, okay, we're practicing like still life or whatever. Yeah. Like, yes, she has sold work before.
That's so cool.
No, it has never had anything to do with visions.
Okay.
Well, but if you think about it, here's this kid who was young, is crazy trained, if not naturally gifted.
Right.
Her dad is an artist. Of course, other artists are going to be like, oh, you should do this for your kid. You should do that.
Yeah.
And he's an artist, so he'd want her to get the bit of recognition she can safely have.
Yeah.
So, she has had, some of her dad's artist friends sell some of her prints with their stuff as, a cute thing by a kid. She's had those things happen before.
Did any of those prints involve blood?
No.
Okay.
That's the thing, is they were all generic, look how talented this kid is.
Right.
Not here's this bloody murder scene.
Murder on the canvas. Okay.
I like to think of it because, in my headcanon.
Headcanon, okay.
Because a fairly common work, not super common, a job, a fairly common job, not a super common job for master woodcarvers, is actually doing restoration work on like grand lodges and theaters. Okay. So picture this kid who is with her dad all the time, creating a perfect sketch of the scroll work on the wall, and they sell it in the theater gift shop. Like those kinds of things.
Yeah. Okay.
Are where her art has been, like weird little niche-y things.
I love that. I love having that headcanon. That's great. And now it's all in our minds as well. So I wrote this down as like potentially podcast worthy, and I think that it is. So one of the things that we talk about, because my job as an editor is not merely to proofread, right? That is not what I do. And yes, I am one of many editors, but I do get the first stab at content edits. Now, do we typically change a lot of your content? No. You have that.
But you catch me for continuity errors.
I catch you for continuity errors and stuff. And so this was one of those times, and I was like, I'm not sure if this is continuity or not. And it turned out to not be. And I would love for you to explain this. So, failure to find an image match only dealt a slight chest punch. Even seeing through Clara's werewolf eyes, the darkness had left most of the landscape beyond the cliff as nothing more than shades of shadow. So I was like, okay, hold on. So Ella, in the vision that we see, in which she starts, when she takes over Clara's body, or she lives in Clara's, but doesn't take it over, but is now a passenger in it, right? That she notices that Clara is drugged, or something has happened that has made it harder for her to fight. She hasn't shifted or something, right? Something like that. Yeah. So I was like, so would that not have messed with her vision? And explain what your answer was to me.
So
do you remember what it was?
The way that a werewolf's eyes work, like the way their rods and cones and eyeball stuff is, they have better night vision than a human or a sybil would. And their rods and cones aren't affected. Like it wouldn't be affected the way a muscles would. Like your rods and cones aren't going to change.
Right.
So if it is an injury, a curse, a poison, a whatever.
Yeah.
Rods and cones are rods and cones.
Yeah. Okay.
So that would be the same.
Because like I know that certain drugs can make it so that your vision becomes wobbly, but it's not that kind of thing.
It is not that kind of thing because you would have seen it wobbling.
Oh, true.
In the vision, it would have wobbled.
She didn't. Yeah. Okay. But they don't have the best eyesight. Do you know who has the best night vision? Is our nephews.
Our nephew. One of our nephews claimed for years.
This was years ago.
When he was young, he claimed for years that he had better eyesight than a cheetah, and it was
and we were like,
hilarious.
No, buddy.
It's okay. He was also faster than a cheetah. I can't wait to tell that story at his wedding.
God, don't cheetahs get from 0 to 60 in a few seconds? It's just remarkable.
Yeah, no, this 5-year-old was way faster.
It's all good. I mean, good for that 5-year-old. Oh, okay. So the Violet wrapped her arms around me, bearing my weight when my knees couldn't, but not the same way Caleb had. Her hitched breaths matched mine as she let tears take over. I hugged her back. That moment literally made me cry when I was reading it the first time. I was like, oh my God. They're there for each other because they're both wolves.
Well, it's not even that they're both wolves. It's that...
Well, they're also... I mean, Jesus, okay, this is getting deep, but they're both young women. And women suffer a lot of shit. So it's like, that too.
And they're currently Clara's age. Like, a girl their age was taken from their town and everybody decided to ignore it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And we kind of talked about this a little bit in edits. But yes, Violet has some anger issues and quite the temper. Violet is not fond of... Ella's human friends and is very not friendly to them. But if you think about Violet's actual connections to people, she's connected to a lot more people than either Caleb or Ella. She has a mom, a dad, 2 brothers, bandmates, other friends. Like she's actually really socially functional.
Right.
So her having compassion and mourning her friend, Violet's a badass, will break your face, but she has she actually has a lot of people that she loves.
Yeah.
Like she actually has a family that she lives with. Like she lives with her parents.
Yeah.
She has to go home so that her older brother doesn't worry about her. Like that's That's her
life. She
life.
has a support system.
Yeah. Which is part of why she can be that angry, because she has people who are going to catch her no matter what.
And was she, I mean, I take it that kind of anger is kind of pervasive amongst werewolves.
It's not pervasive. It's more like there is a sharp instinct to tension. Of almost like an animal where they hear something fall and their thing is automatically, I'm attacked. Where it's that survival instinct.
Just
where
constant fight or flight.
Yeah, but she's been angry.
Yeah.
Because she's been pushing towards this thing where people don't believe her. Where people aren't listening to her. Where she's trying to get people to help her find her friends.
Like even Luca has given up.
Luca hasn't given up, but she can't push this on him because he's barely holding on. So she's trying to take care of him too.
Because he really loved Clara.
Yeah.
And
so it's one of those.
For those of you who think, I don't think anybody out here thinks this, because you're all readers, you're all capable of empathy. And I think I've made this point in the podcast before, but thinking that teens aren't capable of love, that is so crap. Like they absolutely are.
Yeah.
It's different.
But it's different, but it's very possible.
It's very
and to have the person that you're in love with just disappear and people say she ran away or that you hurt her.
Yeah.
Like she's mad because she's been pushed into it, not because she's a bad or angry person.
Right.
She's a temporary person, but she's mad just because she's had no choice but to be mad.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move to a person that I don't know what emotions they feel ever. Let's talk about the Watcher. The Watcher is back. The Watcher is back. So we were discussing the gap, right? Because it's been a little bit of time since we've had the Watcher. And do you want to share with us why that is? Like, because I think this was very interesting, insightful. I don't know if you're...
No, I will say this much. Okay. If you think about where Ella has been, she has not been at a locker where her car has been parked for hours. Like, if you think about where Clara has been, I think it's...
Right, Clara?
Or, sorry, where Ella has been. Right. I think figuring out why there hasn't been the Watcher it's pretty clear, at least to me, is that, like, it's been a day and a bit. Where the fuck would they have found her? She hasn't been home.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want you to enjoy that I wrote this earlier for acting notes. I said, bring back the anger here, because Megan's always like, you're so angry as Violet. I was like, yeah, she's just always angry. She's like, she's not that angry. I was like, okay. So I wrote, okay, bring back the anger here. You're not going to see this when you're on the podcast, but it's funny to have this here for later. So I just wanted to share that with you.
I don't want to give you acting notes. It's just you treat her like she's constantly in this murdery rage.
She's Mark Ruffalo.
She is not Mark Ruffalo. First of all, Mark Ruffalo has a sexy hairy chest, which damn, that's difficult to pull off.
How dare you?
I'm just saying, the man can work it. But also, no.
I want to now push, I'm putting this clip out and being like, Mark Ruffalo, I hope you see this.
Okay, well, if he does, hey, Mark Ruffalo. But no, she's not that angry. She's just that... She's that tense, she's that push, she's that stress. Like, she has been living on this edge of not knowing where her friend is for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so her kind of not collapsing, but her having that moment of grieving with Ella is sort of it's the first time she's actually been able to do it.
Yeah.
She just found out Clara was for sure dead less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
So she's been living with this for a long time.
Right. No, she has. And then I also wrote, I was like, Violet, like, she's not all of a sudden, but it's just like, she's being so nice to Ella. And it's just like, it's such an interesting...
I don't think you understand how teenage girls bond, how girls bond.
Of course I don't. You think I still don't understand girls. I will never think that I understand.
No, but like once you go through something like what they have done in the past 24 hours, what they have been through since the cabin, and then to have Ella say exactly what Violet is feeling of fuck this, fuck them, I don't care what it fucking takes. They need to acknowledge what they did. they need to live in fucking terror because they let this happen. That kind of experience is going to bond teenage girls.
Okay. Well, I mean,
like, because they've been through this. Like, yes, she broke her face. Yeah, whatever. But in the end of it, they are fighting for Clara.
Yeah.
And nothing bonds teenage girls like having something to fight for or against. So they're fighting for Clara. That's it. They are bonded for life.
That's not just teenage girls.
I know it's not just teenage girls, but you were saying you didn't understand how that could happen.
No, but that's fair.
And in teenage girldom, there is this, and I don't know if it's like some mothering psychological need or this need for another person for safety because safety in number, like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But it is very true that like once you connect over the need of safety or protection or something, those bonds do exist that quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I see that. I still don't. I will never understand girls. I won't. And that's okay. So last thing, and I think I'm okay to say this, and maybe we've talked about this before and I just don't recall, but the amount of Aetherian talk that there is from the Watcher, like Aetherian ambush, I think the Watcher says at one point. And oh yeah, right here. I straightened as the potential of both Aetherian ambush and technical malfunction nipped fear into my mind. There's another part in this section where the Watcher talks about this Aetherian, the Aetherians stopped talking. And I'm like, oh, so the Watcher is not Aetherian. I think we can glean that from this, that the Watcher is not Aetherian.
I had so much fun watching you be certain it was Caleb. I'm just going to let this shit happen.
Oh my God.
Because it brought me so much joy.
But you don't do things on accident. So the reason, like, for the Watcher to be, I also am slightly convinced that the Watcher is involved in like AV Club or the newspaper or something. Just from this little segment, we'll see. That I'm less certain of, but I am now 93.87% certain the Watcher is not Aetherian. So yeah.
Or Caleb.
No, that I'm 100% sure of now.
Thank you.
Oh my God. All right. So that's it. That's all I have. So did you have anything else that you wanted to touch on before we go?
Not on the book, no.
Okay. Anything else in life?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you to all the new friends I made at Central Florida Comic Con. Also, I officially am booked to go to, I forgot the name of the thing.
Oh, Once Upon a Con?
Once Upon a Con in National Harbor, in the National Harbor up by DC in August. So if you were in the area, check out the Once Upon a Con because I'm really excited for that. Yeah, I think that is all the non-book news. Keep an eye out on the Substack because there are more blog posts coming. I'm having a lot of fun, and there is a lore drop that is particularly pertinent to this week's chapter and episode. So do check out the blog. It will be posted later this week. And for my friends who are on Substack, please comment on the chapters and the podcast. I love hearing your theories and your takes on the chapters.
She loves laughing at my theories.
I do. I don't laugh at y'all's theories. I laugh at his theories.
That's true. She doesn't. No,
I love yours, but him being like, oh, I'll give you breakfast because Caleb's the Watcher. Like, that's when I laugh because it's like random time. So just like insert.
Really? Was I that? Like,
yes, it was absurd.
Oh my gosh.
Because I know Caleb's the Watcher. No, okay, baby.
Okay.
So that part's funny, but I love hearing from y'all, and I love sort of making the writing process more of a conversation. That's been really great for me.
Yes, and also to add to that, what was I going to say? Oh, the blogs themselves, if you are a free subscriber with the Substack, those are open for free subscribers. So you don't have to be on the ARC team. You don't have to be paying to get access to the blogs. Now you do have to be on the ARC team, or if you would like to pay, awesome. That's going to open up the chapters for you, I think, beyond chapter 3. But the blogs, they're up for everybody.
Yeah, it's just the text of the chapters. I can't leave on the open internet without a paywall because of rules and blah, 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 blah. Publishing is silly sometimes. But anyway, so yes, but the blog posts are free to access. The podcasts are free to access. It's just the text chapters that If you are not a part of the ARC team or a Substack subscriber, then the Kickstarter is going to be the way to get that first.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's going to be an amazing Kickstarter with so many illustrations and full page illustrations and a gorgeous hardback cover. And anyway, it's going to be great.
I'm still kind of, you can make me remove this, but I'm still kind of hoping that we get to a point to where we're like, maybe we'll add an audiobook into this too, you know?
Yeah, that would be
really cool.
That's the dream, just to get it out.
I basically just want Alexandra back.
Well, also for accessibility, but also because it would be cool, but also for accessibility.
Yes.
All right. So I think that's it.
Why don't you tell them where they can find us?
For being here for this mentally spicy, neurospicy episode of...
You're the neurospice, I'm the neurocrunch. I don't know what that means. Please continue.
I didn't like that.
Continue.
It's only cute when I do it. But thank you for being with us on this January 20th MLK Day ride.
Woo!
And please do follow, subscribe, rate, comment, whatever it is you can do on your preferred podcast platform so that the algorithm knows you like Page by Page and it shows it to more friends so they can join in the Sketchbook of a Wayward Seer adventure with us. And that is all from us.
Yes,
here at the Page by Page podcast.
Here at the Page by Page.
So let it be done.
Find us on the same Page by Page time, same Page by Page channel next week. And as always, why are you looking at me like that?
Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.
And as always, thank you for reading. I have to get the final word. Bye. Bye.